Hi, everybody. Welcome. Excited to be here with all of you fantastic EXP agents. Maybe we met down in Miami. My name's Matt. I'm a senior customer success manager here at Fyxer. I've been with Fyxer for coming up on 3 months. My background in customer success over the last 15 or so years has been helping large organizations roll out digital solutions to really empower their workforce. So for years, I was at LinkedIn. And then prior to Fyxer, I worked at Grammarly. So I'm very familiar with communication AI. And that's really what we're going to get into today. And really, as we continue to grow our presence with EXP, what we've found is y'all are really, really, really busy. And something we really take to heart is that Fyxer is not for slackers. Fyxer is for people who want time back in their day to be more productive with the work that gets them going, the fulfilling work that they get to do. And ultimately, in your case, the work that brings home the bacon or the bread for you, right? So hopefully this is not you and you're not losing deals to email chaos. But we know in all the ways you're communicating, email, text, WhatsApp, video. I mean, I've seen it all. You agents get so creative. How can we make sure that the most steadfast communication in professional settings, which is email, is not causing you to lose deals? So that's what we'll talk through today. I'll go through a handful of slides. I'll then likely transition into the Fyxer dashboard. We are monitoring, teams monitoring the chat, and we'll post comments. So if you have questions, let me know. I'm also going to hang around at the end. I'd say we'll take about 25 to 30 minutes, but I'll hang around even past the half hour. So if people do have questions, but you can also always email our support team, support at Fyxer.com. If it's EXP, it gets prioritized, just so you know. So let's get into it. Whoops, let me just change that view. Here we go. All right, so the market reality as we close into heading into Q4 now of 2025, what we have ultimately been able to uncover in working with EXP and really working with a lot of real estate agents is, and you all know this, that the deals are going to go to the people that are responding. So how can we be the first to respond? The expectations in such a tight market right now are really high. And so speed becomes a moat. It becomes the thing that can make you as an agent a differentiated agent. But you have to be able to not just be fast, but scale that speed. How can you actually sustainably reach out to people and respond to people quickly and effectively? And that's kind of the challenge. It's balancing the speed and the sustainability. And then what's at stake? It's not rocket science. It's money. It's your lost revenue. This is your livelihood. I think that's, continued to come forefront to me as I continue to work with EXP and other real estate firms even more closely, is how much this is your business and your livelihood. And that's the slower reprise can deter someone from responding back to you, or put a less good taste in their mouth. And ultimately, it's just time that's not being put towards good energy, to good activity. If you're taking too much time to get back to them, reading the emails for too long. And we always say this at Fyxer, it's really about working smart and fast. It's not just about working hard. And so there is a difference. So we really want agents and all Fyxer users to feel this value and understand that if you can have that time back in the day, well, time is money, right? And so here are a handful of things, and this is done through our own research. This is done through, speaking with customers. What is bogging you down? It's cluttered inboxes. It's repetitive admin tasks. So little things that pile up, logging calls, different places you have to enter information, following up with people that you reached out to and they never got back to you. And now you've got to dig through emails and get back to them. it can be endless. And then the meeting chaos, right? And I think this is a big one. I know when I spoke to agents in Miami and we talked about how Fyxer can help with meetings, they said, oh, that's interesting, right? Taking notes, having recaps and summaries for all of your meetings so that when you get to the end of the day and your brain is already fried and you're on your sixth coffee, you can start to look at the emails of the summaries of all the meetings you had that day and say, oh, this is great. I don't have to go back to handwritten notes, or I don't have to email my virtual assistant and say, hey, remind me what was said on this meeting. That's all going to be handed to you. And so at the end of the day, the tools that you use are either going to help you and help you win, or, I think in the world of AI, as we're really heading towards more productivity, and I truly believe that, there is this learning curve where we don't want you to be dragged down by the technology. One of our co-founders, Arch, spoke at EXPCon about using AI. It should feel like it's invisible, right? It shouldn't feel like we're making your life more difficult so that you can eventually make it easier. We ultimately just want to make your life easier, be as invisible and in the background as possible, so that, again, you can do more work, because the Fyxer is not for slackers. It's almost counterintuitive because people say, hey, I'm terrible with my inbox, I can't manage it. Fyxer will help, right? We say, well, it'll help, but it's only going to help give you back time to do more. Are you ready to do more? And so that's what I challenge you all to with. Right. And that's where Fyxer comes in, right? Responding in an effective, quick, swift way, but with confidence that your tone is accurate and effective, with confidence that your information you're providing is accurate and effective, and ultimately being able to get out of inbox and meeting chaos and back to clarity and back to driving revenue. Don't believe me? Ask Glenn. Glenn literally popped into a meeting I was in with the Success Magazine group last week, and all he had to say was positive things. So here's a note from him around it, cutting the noise, and it's really easy to get started, which I know is a big thing. We don't want to make this difficult, but 5 times faster average time to respond to emails. Again, I as a customer facing person myself, I'm dealing in email, maybe not as frequently as you all, but all day. And so the ability to respond or not wake up in the morning and be stressed about writing 50 responses because they've all gotten started for me, an hour a day minimum, I think, absolutely, is being saved. So let's take a little bit of a look at what Fyxer is in action. Um, some of you may be signed up already, which is awesome, and you're using this as a way to learn more. That's great. If you're not, we'll show you also how to get signed up, right? And we do encourage, if you are a capper or above, you get Fyxer 100% off. You also can get your team involved. So I know sometimes people say, well, I'm a capper, but I have some teammates who aren't. If you are on and run a team as an icon or a cap or someone who's capped, you can cascade the 100% off down to your team. So I can answer questions, but basically, as long as you invite them onto your team where you have got $0 charge, they would not have to even enter billing. They would definitely now be part of your team. All right. So getting signed up, and I know Teen's going to share this link, but it's just Fyxer.com/EXP. This is your special link /EXP. And you'll see there's a link for cappers and icon agents, and then agents and advisors. We are still running, I believe, our 10% off discount from Miami for all other agents. So definitely take advantage. We're running that, I think, until the end of this week. So maybe just till tomorrow. But you can sign up today. Now, please note, it is going to ask you for billing information, right? I always just like to make sure people see that. Even if you are signing up as a capper, we do need to capture everyone's information, their billing details, to have your user ID created in our backend. But as you check out, you will note that it says 100% discount. So you do not have to pay, obviously, but you're still going to have everything logged in there, but it'll be 100% off. All right. If there's any questions with sign up, you can throw questions in the chat. I know Teen is monitoring it, and we'll have time. But I do want to make sure everyone feels comfortable in getting signed up. And great, team just shared the link, Fyxer.com/EXP. Awesome. All right. So what does Fyxer look like? Now, I always tell people Fyxer, it helps your inbox get cleaner and your brain get quieter. But in the first time you sign up, you might be like, whoa, what is this? What's going on with my email? And right. So that's why we're having this discussion today so that you know your inbox is going to change. There's going to be some new labels. That's the whole idea. We auto categorize your inbound emails and we make sure that you see what needs your attention first. So, emails that need to respond to or emails that are high priority, AKA we call them FYI, those are going to get flagged first. And then we just quietly take away those less important, those salesy marketing type emails, and we filter those out. And it's, it's more than just kind of like managing your email, which is ultimately what folders will do. It's really giving you back that clarity to be able to make decisions faster, to operate just more quickly. Because again, my ability now to come in the morning and respond to emails is so much more swift, but it's less about the swiftness and it's more about my confidence in what I'm sending. Because I know Fyxer has already written me a great starting point, sometimes good enough to just hit send, but more often than not, it's a quick little edit and I'm good to go. And this is exactly what I mean by that. So the first great part about Fyxer is categorizing your emails. And then the next piece is writing emails for you. Now it's never, ever going to send. And I did see that question come in. I'll get to that in just one sec. If it's replying to an email, it's never going to send an email on your behalf. Please know that. It is going to draft it to the best of its ability. And it's really good. This is really the true north of Fyxer, is trying to create the best next email for you without you having to edit it as little as possible. So it really writes that email almost instantaneously if you're receiving one. And then it also, something I also like to note, the effortless follow-ups piece. It can remind you when you need to send a follow-up email as well. So you don't have to track something down in your sent folder. It'll show back up in your folder with a draft for you already. Now, I know someone asked about pricing. So Fyxer for the month, it's $50 per month, but you do get, I think it's a 7% off if you do it annually. So it's $50 a month, but then if you actually purchase it annually, it is, I want to say $45 a month, excuse me. And then you would get 10% off if you sign up with the discount code. So $50 a month, but you do get 10% off. And again, if you sign up annually, your monthly rate is a little lower. So we do incentivize for annual signups. All right. Great. So let's go to the next slide. Mentioned that you'll never miss a follow-up, which is really helpful. You get drafts written for you. And then this is what I was talking about before, and I think we didn't emphasize this enough early on with EXP and with real estate agents, is its ability to record meetings and allow you to stay focused on the tasks at hand, or the call at hand in this case, is really, really helpful. I almost never anymore, I'm afraid to admit this, take meeting notes. I don't have to. I used to be someone that would manually write. Then I got into the habit of telling people when I'd start a meeting, okay, this is where my meeting is, and I have my note taker here that I'm going to just be taking notes. And that worked, but to be able to now focus here 100% of a meeting and know that my notes are going to come to me at the end, and I'll show you what those look like, is really, really useful. And then, as it says, you can actually chat with your meeting transcript. That sounds very fairy tale in the way it's written, but I'll explain what that means, which is that you can actually pull information by prompting it questions. And you don't have to believe me. I mean, you saw Glenn, I know Leo's talked about it. Wendy's talked about EXP. But the agents, again, it was so much fun for us to be at Miami at EXPCon. We had about 8 people there, which is legitimately like a fifth of our company because of how important and how much we want EXP to flourish with Fyxer. And here's just some of the quotes we've collected over the last couple of months, and we've got more. We've got video testimonials. Hopefully, you've seen in the Solution Slack channel, we shared a video. I'll share a link or the channel that you can join, which is our Solutions Fyxer Slack channel too, that you can join. But we're just seeing really, really positive feedback. There's always going to be people that have questions or need help. And so please come to us with the feedback, positive or negative. But it's just so empowering to see how much Fyxer is helping people. Because again, we know how hard you're working, but it's not always about working hard. It's about working smart. And why does speed win? I mean, again, you close deal faster if you're responding first and you're following up consistently. I mean, you all know this. I've been in sales and customer success long enough. It's not that first email that's going to get them. It's often that second or that third one. So how can you keep moving deals forward and close deals faster? How can you deliver better service? I mean, I think, again, I feel great about my ability to respond to people so swiftly. So how can you be someone that's known as, wow, did you see how fast team gets back? It's just so professional, right? There's really positive takeaways from being able to be fast as long as you're being accurate and it's scalable. Right. And then ultimately, again, it always comes down to that time that matters. It's about how to optimize your time, not necessarily how to get as much done as possible during that time. All right. And then before I get into the tool itself, just a quick recap. It's all about speed, right? This is how we can kind of not miss deals, right? I know that's the theme of the webinar, right? Not missing deals because our inboxes are crowded. But the best way to kind of combat that, it's almost like a good defense is a good offense. And you've got to think about how we can be more effective, get back to people faster, and accelerate our workflows. And so it's time to stop chasing your inbox and win more deals. All right. So before I go into the tool, here is again that link. I know you can't physically click it, but it's fyxer.com/exp. And then you've got your sign up options. I also added it's hashtag US-salute-fyxer-AI. It sounds like a lot, but you can see it written out there is our Slack channel. So you can go ahead and join the discussion on Slack. Where we sometimes post videos or upcoming webinars like this. And I know those are coming through other channels as well. All righty. I am going to spend the next 10 to 12 minutes going into the dashboard. Now, one of the great things about Fyxer is that once you are set up appropriately, you really don't have to leave your existing workflow, right? You can stay in your Gmail. You can stay in your Outlook. And just a note, I know people often ask, does it work in Apple Mail? It's not really great in Apple Mail. So if you are often reading on your phone, I recommend downloading the Gmail or the Outlook application. It is intended to work directly with those. So because you're connecting those calendars and those inboxes, try to stick to using the Gmail or Outlook specifically, whether you're on your phone or on desktop computer. All right. Now, another tip, if you are using Fyxer, is I always recommend bookmarking app.fyxer.com. That's the website I'm on right now. It's just app.fyxer.com. And that is essentially your home dashboard. Again, you don't have to come here often, but there's two main reasons you would come here. One is to tweak your settings for personalization purposes, and I'll talk about that. The second is if you would like to see your recorded meetings. So I'll start with that because, again, I know this is how do we get out of inbox chaos? Well, if we don't have to worry about, did I follow up with that person? Do I have the notes from that meeting? Oh my gosh, what did I say in that call? Well, all of that is going to be put to rest, put to ease, peace of mind by clicking meetings and being able to go see all of my recorded meetings. Okay, so because Fyxer has a note taker that enters Zoom or a Google Hangout, that's funny. I've definitely had meetings. A Zoom or a Google Hangout or a Microsoft Teams meeting, it would upload in here as long as I'm not experiencing some funky bug. Interesting. So it can see my upcoming emails, which is great. These are, because Fyxer is attached to my calendar, it can easily see again what's upcoming and whether or not it's going to be recorded. So I can always turn this off if I wanted to on an upcoming meeting. I apologize for some reason. I'm, of course, running into a bug that I've never seen before where I'm just not getting my recording meetings. Let me log out and back in really quick. And then if that's not there, I'll just talk through it for a moment. All right, let's try that again. All right, apologies, folks, that for some reason it's not showing my, let's see if I search for one, if I can find one. I just talked to the folks at Beer 52, a beer publication in England, but it looks like it's not currently finding my meeting. Okay, no big deal. Essentially what this will allow you to do, and I'll show you this chat feature because it's similar to this. It shows you the entire meeting. It shows you the summary of the meeting, and then it allows you to actually chat with the meeting. So what I wanted to share was kind of that chat functionality. And what's great about Fyxer is that we have a chat. So I clicked it just down on the left side. Let me do that. I know that went fast. On the left side, you see under your files, I'm hitting chat. And now this is Fyxer essentially is like your executive assistant that has access to your calendar. It has access to all the different places you've interacted with Fyxer, your emails. And I can say, you know, what's the latest with our pilot with FedEx, for example. And again, this will be helpful if you're having meetings or emails with different prospects. You can simply search, and Fyxer is going to provide all of the latest information on Fyxer, on that prompt, right? And what I love about this is not only can it give you, but it can also write an email for you. So all I have to do on the bottom here, you see I just highlighted where it says search and draft. I can toggle this to draft and say, write a follow-up email to Jay from FedEx and ask to meet next week. Right, and so Fyxer is going to populate it. It knows that who it's writing it to because it has all of that context. And what's really great about it, you know, a lot of people do like email writing in ChatGPT or something like that, but then you have to copy and paste it. You notice that this says, please visit your inbox. So if I go to my inbox and I just go to my draft folder, you can see here is, whoops, that's an actual email from someone named Jay. But here's that draft that Fyxer has written for me right at the top there. And you can see follow-up and meeting request. Hey, Jay, hope all is well. And it's that email that was drafted directly in Fyxer. Right. One other thing I want to point out while I'm in my inbox, just to give you all a little tip, because I know that this is something people always say, hey, I want to know what's coming in my inbox versus what's getting labeled. So you notice that in my inbox itself, if I click inbox at the top, the only emails we see are to respond, which obviously have drafts, or FYI. But I have a notification on my left side in the folder here. If I click, I can see there was a notification, a less important email that was basically asking me how the team lunch was from our lunch provider. But also I'm just going to delete that. And that's why these emails down here, having these folders and having emails get automatically routed into these folders is a great way to keep your inbox nice and clean with high priority emails. But you obviously have to know that, okay, there still could be emails coming in. That's why I saw that number one. I saw that it was bolded. And that's why, and I'm going to switch back into my other tab. This Fyxer dashboard is handy. So I'll do like two more things here and then we can stop for questions. But in the categorization part of your app.fyxer.com, you can choose what emails get filtered to the folders versus stay in your inbox. So you can see I have the top two unchecked, which essentially means that those emails, my highest priority emails, will be in my inbox. And these bottom ones are going to get filtered into their appropriate folders, right? So I know when people sign up, they say, hey, why am I not seeing emails, or why am I seeing so many emails in my inbox? This is probably the reason. So it's just something to know. You can always come in here and edit what comes into the inbox. All right. Let's just double check maybe my meetings. Hey, they came back. Look at that. All right. So there was a quick little snafu. My meetings are back. You can see here are my meetings from earlier today. And I get these lovely meeting summaries with what was said, all the attendees, what questions were raised, and what our next steps are. And then on the right side is that chat where I could ask it any questions like, do I need to follow up on any bugs? Potential issue with duplicating emails. So again, we saw in the chat feature how Fyxer can search everything. And then we saw here how it can effectively search a specific call you had. But this summary, again, I got it in my inbox within 2 minutes of the meeting finishing. And so it comes in right away. And then if you want, you can have your attendees receive this. A lot of opportunity to take advantage of this. Again, don't worry about taking the notes during the call. It's all going to be done for you and then fed to you via email or in your app.fyxer.com, as we just saw. And I'm glad that mine reappeared there. So that's great. And then I think the last thing I'll just show before we kind of tidy up is your Fyxer link. So one of the nice parts about drafts is it can offer time. So if someone writes to me and says, Matt, are you available at 3 o'clock tomorrow? Fyxer knows my calendar. So it can say, write back a draft and say, I'm not available at 3 Eastern. I'm available at 3:30 or 4, or click this link, and Fyxer draft will put that link in and it'll say, click this link to schedule if that's easier. So it's really useful. You could also send this out in newsletters or any sort of promotional material you send out, and people can sign up for time with you. If you already have something like that, you can just put that in here. So if you use a service like Calendly or Chili Piper to schedule meetings, you can still use that link. And that way Fyxer can write back to someone, hey, here's when I am available, or click this link, and it uses the appropriate link for you. All right, the very last thing I'll just hit on, people often ask, Matt, what's the best way to make Fyxer write a better draft, right? Well, firstly, Fyxer is going to read your last 300 sent emails when you sign up. So it already starts with a great baseline of how you like to write and your tone and things like that. But you can also put in this draft prompt when you click drafts and set it up so that you can tell Fyxer how you like to respond, what type of tone you like to use, if there's any shortcuts or shorthand you like to use. So this is a great place, the drafts settings, where you can prompt Fyxer to make sure it's writing your best next email. Right? That is really everything I wanted to share. I'm just going to go back to this, and I'll end on this page. If you're not a cap, yeah. So Angel, it's $50 a month if you're not a capper. That rate is a little bit lower if you sign up annually. So I believe if you sign up annually, that rate comes down to about $45 a month. And then you still get the 10% discount. So that would come to around $40 a month. How do we share it out for the team? So if you are already signed up, great question, and you're on a team, let me show you. You would go into settings and go to team down here on the left side, and you can invite teammates. So great question, Catherine May. If you're already signed up and you have a whole group and you want to cascade the discount down, make it easier so they don't have to enter any of their billing information, you just come into team, invite teammates, and you can enter their email and they'll get an alert, or you can copy an invite link. Nope, no catch, Kim. Good question. There really isn't a catch. Look, we have a corporate partnership and agreement with EXP, and part of that was to provide a certain amount of service for certain levels. So really, it's an incentive for everyone to cap. Um, it's not about to reset. It's not based off of the fiscal year. It's a you technically get 1 year for free from your initial sign up. But honestly, people say, is it just a year? The goal is for it to be in perpetuity. We're about to hit our first year with EXP as a partner, and I know the plan is, quite frankly, to go beyond. So we expect cappers to always have it free of charge. You can set up multiple email accounts. Great question. I'm still sharing my screen, so I can go to settings, integrations, and you can connect another. So I think the limit is 5, but I'd have to double check. But you can definitely connect multiple. And that way I know people have like a business or a catch-all type of email. So you can definitely connect up to 5 at the very least. But I can double check if there's more. Any other questions? Yes, great question, Grace. Outlook or Gmail? Yes, it can be in Spanish, Gabby. Great question. If someone writes to you in Spanish, it will draft in Spanish back. We're a UK-based company, and so we're very, very multilingual in Europe and obviously here and globally, frankly. Yeah, great question, Kimjera. I'm looking forward to you capping as well, and hopefully I pronounced your name right. Reach out to us. Let us know if you are someone that's paying right now, and then you cap. We will make sure we can provide it for you for free moving forward. So the discount is from directly associated with the link. So if you go to Fyxer.com/exp, the discount is associated with the link that you select. Yes. So, Mark, you can have your broker invite you into their Fyxer team, essentially. So, that same way I was showing that last person, they go to team and they'll be able to invite teammates in and they can send it to you, Mark. Lofty emails from both my Gmail account and the internal. It's a good question, Jeff. I know Lofty because it was there. I'm not sure how it would work since they both are. What I would recommend is connecting your Gmail if you're going to try it out. And that way it's going to collect. I mean, you can add the Lofty one as well if they're different emails, I guess. It would be more around your workflow. If you need to be responding from both, then I would connect both. But if your responses are really mostly coming from your Gmail, then only connect the Gmail since that's where the drafts would get created. Yeah, good question, Tony. You can absolutely log in with a non-EXP Gmail account. I should have stressed that. Great question. So just because you're EXP, you do not have to sign up with your exp.com address. Again, because you're clicking from that link, fyxer.com/exp, it recognizes that you are EXP, right? And that's how it cascades that discount code, and that's how we know you're signing up as EXP, but it does not have to be with your EXP login or email address. If you cap every year but haven't capped yet, um, yeah, if your current status is not capper, it's a bit of a nuanced question, Ario. I'd have to double check, but I think you have to have current status as a capper, is my understanding. Good question, Robert. You do have your own dashboard. Everybody has their own individual dashboard. So even if you're not, if you're on a team, right, we would all log into app.fyxer.com. Now, the admin might have this, like the billing setup or a couple other things, but everyone has access to the dashboard. No, yep, good question, Maria. It is permanent. It's not based on the calendar year. It is based off of when you sign up. So in theory, it's 1 year of free from the 365 days you sign up. Again, our goal is for it to be in perpetuity. So we are going to try to make sure that all cappers have it for free, in perpetuity. No, so that shouldn't be the case, Tony. As long as you go to uh, fyxer.com/exp, you click on I am a capper, then it still will say 7-day free trial. It still is requiring that and will require payment. So that is still the proper workflow. When you go to enter your billing details, there should be a button that says details and says 100% off. So you do have to enter billing information. It's requiring payment details, but it won't require payment itself. So hopefully you did follow the link, Tony, and that is correct, the behavior you're seeing. But if it's not, and you're not seeing that discount code applied, let us know. The address for the app, the website is app.fyxer.com. Let me see if I can send here, app.fyxer.com. I can see now the questions coming in. Okay. So Fyxer is not like reading any attachments that you're sending. And if it sets up a draft, it does not, I can't attach anything for you. We are up to GDPR standards, SOC 2 compliant. So we do have the highest level of privacy and information security standards. We're not, while we use your emails to write the draft, it's never data is never being kept. Everything stays within your cloud essentially. So no one is accessing that shared data. The only thing that would be accessed by your team is if you uploaded a file to Fyxer, you can then share it with your team. Okay, is this same as Fireflies? I saw was a question. It's not one-to-one, right? I think Fireflies does a lot of what Fyxer does in terms of like meeting notes and recording. Again, I think of Fyxer's true north as trying to write the best next email for you. And all of the stuff that comes along with it, scheduling, your calendar, your meeting recorder, it's all these useful ancillary things that are going to help provide the next best email, which is really what differentiates us, that I don't think Fireflies and most of our competitors are not doing. Thank you, Philip, for adding that, continuing to add that link. And yes, I see Anthony. Yeah, you can sign up with Gmail or Microsoft. That's totally okay. So we require to put credit card information, but I do see the, yes, perfect, Tony. So you're in good shape. You're in the right place. And yeah, Anthony, you shouldn't, I don't think you would use SSO in this case. Our SSO is only set up for Fyxer, for EXP staff who have .net email addresses. So you would still sign up with Gmail or Outlook. More about the meeting calendaring and recording features. Sure. Happy to, Philip. So, a couple things with recording meetings. And I'm so glad my meeting came back here. So I'll go into the settings first. So I'm clicking on the top right, the settings button next to the blue record meeting. So there's a few things you can set up. One is you can tell Fyxer what meetings you want it to join. Do you want it to join everything? Do you want it only meetings you're hosting? Or do you want the baseline to be no meetings at all? Probably not. David, you can reach out to me directly about billing issues. So you can let Fyxer know which meetings you want it to join. You can also let it know who you want to receive the summary. So personally, I have the meeting summaries come to myself, and then I choose when I want to send them out. If you want, though, you can choose so that everyone on the invite. I shouldn't have multitasked. Now I'm reading while I'm operating. So you're not necessarily notified if Fyxer has drafted an email response, Maria, because it drafts a response for everything that warrants a response. So again, if something comes in and gets labeled, the thing that will distinctly make it write a response is if it's in the to respond label. So anything that's in to respond, I deleted my draft here because Miles responded separate or on a different thread. But this is to respond. They all have drafts. So it's not an alert you get so much as it just writes the draft for you. And then Zooms that change passwords, I don't think that would come into play at all. I know someone asked just previously too if we can do Zoom. It will join. Yes. So yeah, to answer Miguel and Philip and Delia's questions kind of all in one. Let me go back to this tab. Yeah. So what's nice about it, as long as this is set up, Fyxer will join everything. It was funny. I was like, well, will it join this StreamYard? But this is not a traditional meeting. It would join a Microsoft Microsoft Teams, a Zoom, a Google Hangout. It should not, Miguel, be affected by Zoom password changing because it's essentially going to join the meeting the way an individual would. It'll look like a person is there. It'll say Fyxer AI note is taking notes, or Miguel's note taker is taking notes as a person. It kind of hops in. It will join every meeting that you accept the invite to, as long as the host lets that person in. Okay. And so you can join a meeting that you're not even a part of as long as you accept the invite. Now, another piece. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Philip. And yeah, no, there's no limit, Delia. I have hundreds of meetings. It's the cloud is basically limitless. So don't worry about overloading it. And yeah, to Philip's point, it's going to be in on your Zoom calls and your Google calls, deliver those notes automatically. Those notes will look like what we saw here. These will come into your email automatically. And then the other nice piece of this is if for some reason it doesn't enter the meeting, you can always click record meeting at the top here. You see there's a little downward arrow. I can click add to live meeting and I can enter the URL. So if like my meeting was zoom.fyxer and then there was a backslash and it was a bunch of things, like I just grab the URL meeting invite link, I insert it right there, and then I hit start recording. So that's if Fyxer didn't show up to a meeting, but I want it there. Now, if I want Fyxer at a live meeting, like I'm meeting in person with someone, I can go ahead and click start recording and I can select which mic I want. And then Fyxer can actually start recording the audio. So it won't do visual, obviously, but you can record a live in-person meeting. Okay, let me see some questions. How many meetings will it hold? Limitless, I mentioned that. Can you limit spaces for people to schedule meeting with you via the link? Yeah, great question, Philip. I almost feel like I teed you up with some questions here. There is a setting in scheduling. So if you click scheduling and then it brings you to your scheduling settings, just where that link was, like Philip mentioned. This is what he's talking about, I think, is your availability. So because Fyxer does have your calendar, by default, it knows when you're available. But let's say, as a quick example, you're someone that doesn't want to have Monday morning meetings. You can change this to be noon. And now Fyxer knows not to offer time before noon on Monday. Right? And yes, Kim, Zoom Fyxer can hop on a Zoom call even if you forget to. Just note the host does have to let them in. So it does come in handy in like group calls or team meetings, things like that. Do we need to let attendees know we're using? It's a good question, Robert. It comes up whether or not you should be letting people know. In my honest opinion, it has become very, very normal in today's digital professional speaking engagement type of world to have note takers in there. I think people are learning quickly that how useful they can be. And again, the host still has to let them in. So they'll see it too. It's not like it's hiding in the background. They will absolutely see that Fyxer is taking notes. Can I categorize for different things, social meetings and work meetings? Delia, I'm not sure if you mean the meetings here or you mean more on your email label. So you may just have to clarify your question in the comments, please, Delia. Fridays at golf. All right. I think I covered all of the current questions in there, unless I'm missing something. Recorded meetings and to-do lists. Yeah, it's a good question. There's no way to currently like customize or categorize this in here. And we do get questions around to-do lists. Not currently. We have tested like a task feature to kind of take any action items from emails and make them into tasks, but it's not something we're focused on right now. Right, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. If there still are any last minute questions, I'm happy to reshare and answer, but otherwise, I really do appreciate the engagement and everyone's thoughtful questions, wanting to learn more. Please feel free to reach out if you have specific questions, billing questions. Again, we have a great support team. So if it's technical or requires technical troubleshooting, I might have to pass to them. But if it is about billing or something that I'm able to handle, I would love to hear from you all. Awesome. You're so welcome. I'm so glad that those who have it feel more comfortable. And hopefully if those people signed up today to learn more about it, this intrigued you enough to sign up. Yeah, great question, Joanna. There are tutorials. Actually, you know what? Let me do this. Firstly, we do have a good walkthrough. So when you sign up, it actually walks you through a lot of what you need to know. But, and I apologize, I should have added this link earlier. I just put a link in the chat. That is a Zoom session that we run weekly for EXP agents. So you can go ahead. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Grace. You can go ahead and sign up for a session either next Tuesday or the following Tuesday. And they are to help you learn more about Fyxer and really get the walkthrough if you're new to it. So it might be a little redundant, some of the stuff we went through today, but for more specific, like getting set up and getting optimized, that will definitely be that webinar that I just shared. All right, let me just check that we are all finito. How do I ensure I see everything? I saw an email come in my inbox, then disappear. Philip, it's most likely under one of your labels. All mail is going to show you everything. But if you have something in your Fyxer settings that's causing it to go to a label versus be in your inbox, that's why it's not in your inbox. So go to app.fyxer.com, go to that categorization, and that's where you can select what stays in your inbox versus what gets moved into the label. Tuesday is 2 o'clock Eastern time. And again, you can register it, Maria and anybody else, through this link I just put in the chat, that Zoom link. And I can also share that Zoom link out in the solution Slack channel as well, so we can make sure everyone has it. All right. This has been great. Honestly, I'm so glad I stayed on to answer all the questions and just engage with you all, because it's the energy I'm looking for. It's really the energy of people wanting to engage with Fyxer and get time back in their day to be more productive. So thank you all, wherever you're dialing in from. I hope you have a good rest of your day and heading into this weekend, a good weekend. But appreciate y'all engaging. Talk soon.